So, welcome to the Health Evolution Collective. Today, I'm super excited to introduce you to the beautiful Crystal Cuvée, who is on the other side of the world, which we know with technology makes no difference because it's just like we're having a coffee.
Yes, it is. Yay. Thank you so much for having me on. This is marvelous, Tracy. It's fantastic.
Oh, fantastic. I'm so glad that you agreed to come and talk to me today. So, do you want to start by sharing with everybody a little bit about your story and what it is that you do?
Sure. You might wonder what all this situation is happening behind me. Those are feather boas because I am a burlesque dancer. And before you go into the whole, oh my God, she's a stripper and blah, 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 burlesque dancing, it's okay. A lot of people, they have that misconception because of movies and TV and, whatever. But burlesque dance is actually a very classic form of actual dance and performance art before there was a term even for performance art. So it's been around over a century, easily, what we think of. And it actually started eons before that. I mean, from the Commedia d'Art and, things they did in Paris and even back in, the Roman days when they were very, very dramatic about things, right? So my personal story is that I am a classic dancer, like classical ballet, jazz, tap, gymnastics, even hula and Tahitian, and I've dabbled in belly dance, but I'm not really, professional there. It's just for fun. So I decided as an adult, as a very young adult, actually, that I wanted to pursue burlesque a bit because the techniques and the attitudes have come across into normal dance for decades, ever since Bob Fosse basically became so renowned as a choreographer and did Cabaret and did Chicago and so many other big Broadway musicals that became movies. And all that sort of seeped into normal jazz dance classes, basically. So you'd start to learn some of these classic burlesque moves. And he put his own spin on it and made it more serious dance technique involved. And then you see that version now as the modern burlesque from the Pussycat Dolls and, music groups that do a lot of dancing and very sensual, sexy, flirtatious moves to, modern hip hop videos, even dance videos. It's all over the place. Beyonce at the Super Bowl, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. So really the art of burlesque is what you want to make it. I enjoy both the very classic old school, bump and grind, little flip tees and, peel and reveal and all that, to the more modern, very technique-oriented, heavy dance workout type of burlesque, which, by the way, is a very good workout.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I like dabbling in all of it and then giving it to people so they can dabble in that. And that's really where the true joy comes, not just from entertaining an audience, but pulling other women into it who want to, try it a bit for themselves and find that aspect of themselves as a woman and as a playful, flirtatious, empowered human being who enjoys life and all it has to offer.
It's a beautiful self-expression. And I think that I love what you said. It's what you want to make of it, because I think, and not just in this area, but in so many areas, we have our made-up beliefs about what things should look like, and we don't want to explore outside that. But that's the whole point of what I do, is getting people to explore outside, their made-up belief systems and see what's available and see all this beauty that, when we let go of our habitual thinking and get in the flow and just let things go. I mean, for you to be, such a beautiful dancer, or, you must be in the flow of things. I mean, you don't live up in your head and think about what you're doing. It just comes naturally through you, I would imagine.
Yes, actually, that's a very good point, because as a dancer, you sometimes have choreographed routines. So obviously you're following a certain line of steps and combinations and that sort of thing. And so you have to remember what comes next, obviously. But generally speaking, once you've done it a few times with the music, because dance is a reflection of music and it's accenting those things in the music and really giving it that extra oomph and using it to accent what you're doing physically. It's a marriage, really, between the movement and the music, which is why dance and music were used so much in spiritual things, because it is that thing that raises you and makes you feel closer to other things on the planet and other things in the universe, and that thread that connects us all, right? So there's that energy flow that comes through when you're doing a movement to a piece of music. And because of that, there's a certain kinetic memory that, when you hear this series of beats and tempos and whatever the instrument is that is going on at the time, your body sort of automatically knows what to do because you've done it once or twice, or even if you haven't, even if it's simply sheer improvisation, which is a lot of fun and I love to do. And it's a great way to burn off some calories while you're, whipping up dinner in the kitchen and just stop dancing around your kitchen with some music on. It's fantastic, But it's because your body wants to express what it's hearing. And that is that connection that takes you out of your head and gets you sort of a break from having to be so logical and so analytical and, whatever your work issues are that you're dealing with, or whatever the personal problems are that you've got in the back of your head and you're like, oh, that little niggle is really bothering me and how am I going to fix this? It's good to have a break from that and just let everything flow.
Yeah, I love that. And often when we do that, when we allow that to happen, the answers come to the things that we're, the problems we're trying to solve. How does that work? I love that.
Oh, yes. I think it's removing the pressure sometimes, when you can't think of something, that movie that you were talking about with your friends and neither of you can come up with the name of the title. And then 3 o'clock in the morning when you're, finally drifting off to sleep and you're thinking sweet dreams and all of a sudden you go, that was it, no pressure. Right. And then you remember it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. So I love how you shared you have always been involved in dance. So I was wondering if you can share a little bit about your evolution within yourself, because I can imagine over the years you have evolved and, the way you see things like your health and nutrition and I guess, can't quite think of the word I'm trying to say here, but just how you see
It'll
things.
It'll come to you at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, probably will.
Call me up and tell me.
I will, because it'll probably be the middle of the day for you. But oh dear. But do you know what I'm trying to say? So how has it evolved for you in how you see what's in front of you in the world?
Oh, wouldn't we all love to know what's in front of us? I mean, especially right now, right? But, and that sort of is a good point to lead into what I can say about my evolution. I was very fortunate to grow up in a very progressive thinking family when it came to health and to nutrition and being active and that sort of thing. My mother was a dance instructor. So basically I had no choice, right? You're a child, you're going to the dance school with your mother, who, your mum teaches. So you go along and 2 years old, you're dancing, which is a marvelous thing because then your body is flexible and your mind is open and you have no preconceived notions and it's just fun. All children love to dance. You know that. Every time there's music on, any child that's under the age of 6 or 7, probably, they're always dancing. No one has yet taken that gene away from them and told them, oh, you're going to embarrass yourself, or whatever it is that they finally learn socially. And then they go, oh, maybe I shouldn't. So
and
which
then
is
we carry that with us all through our life.
I know.
It stops us dancing in the kitchen or getting on the dance floor and just being ourselves. We're so worried about what other people are going to say or think or
And that's the death knell. No, it is. That is the death knell of enjoying your life. If half of your brain is constantly occupied with what are other people going to think, how can you fully embrace life? How can you fully be true to yourself even when it comes to being successful in your job, in your relationships, in, you know, whatever. Half your brain is always occupied with something else. So you're not able to fully focus on whatever the task at hand is, or whatever it is that you want to be doing, you know, to fulfill yourself. And if it's to heal yourself and you've chosen to go down a different path than perhaps, you know, Western medicine and big pharma have told you should go down, then, you know, what are my neighbors going to, what are my friends, what is my mother going, you know, what are everybody going to say about this? You know, they're going to put me down, they're going to judge me, they're going to tell me, oh, it's all your fault if you don't get better. You know, so that there's always that happening as well. And that affects whether or not your body can actually heal itself a lot of times. You have to give it the permission. So, and give yourself permission, really.
Yes.
Yeah.
So sorry, I kind of.
Oh, that's okay.
You were saying how you were lucky you grew up with your, you know, very sort of forward-thinking family, and because what I guess I'd love you to sort of share a little bit is certainly the perception is that gymnasts and dancers, you know, because there's so much pressure to be very lean, that a lot of them, you know, do struggle with that type of thing, and you know, we hear a lot of eating disorders and things like that in that sort of area. What's your thoughts on that? And has that been something that has been an issue for you? Or, you know, what are some of the things that, you know, I guess have prevented that happening for you?
It is very pervasive, very pervasive for dancers, for gymnasts, for ballerinas, obviously, and honestly, just for women in general, really. But anytime your body is on display, however it's on display, and for, you know, the average woman, that could be bathing suit season comes up, you know, and you want to enjoy the beach or the pool or whatever, you know, and then suddenly, oh God, I'm going to be on display, you know, even if you're not bikini shopping, it's just whatever. So,
yes, that can be very confronting, can't it? Just trying on swimsuits and clothes. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, there's very little chance that a girl or even a boy or an adult, if they've started as an adult, who pursues dance, gymnastics, any sport really, that is a good source of activity on a regular basis for hours a day, very little chance they're going to be actually overweight, because they're doing so much, you know, active-wise, as long as they have a healthy diet and they're not eating, you know, bucket loads of crap, they're going to be fine. But there can also still be that pressure, especially in pas de deux, in ballet, if you're being lifted by your partner, you know, you can be completely healthy and even underweight for the average woman, and still be 2 or 3 kilos heavier than they want you to be. Yeah. So, you know, there is that. Fortunately, ballet wasn't my favorite subject in dance. You have to have it for the basics, and I thoroughly appreciate it. And now, of course, like your mother always says, you'll appreciate these things when you're older. I definitely appreciate it. But as a gymnast, you're allowed to be a bit, I wouldn't say chunkier, but more muscular. Yes. So you're going to naturally, on the scale, weigh a bit more than it looks like you actually weigh, because muscle is dense, as we all know. It's, 3 times heavier than fat, right? So, see, I learned early on you don't go by the scale. And that has helped me in life. That said, as an older teenager and then going off to university, like so many people do, I, you know, discovered, the drinking culture and, you know, the partying culture a bit, and, you know, eating junk food and, you know, not being under my mother's control for everything that went in my body and, you know, that sort of thing. And, you know, put a few pounds on. A few years down the road, I caught a glance of myself in a photograph in a bikini in, I think it was the Bahamas, actually. And I was horrified. You know, for me, I was horrified. And only because I'd always been so lean did it really bother me. because I knew that that wasn't where I was the most comfortable. If I had been, you know, a girlfriend of mine who was the average woman's size, it would have been perfectly fine, and it would have been a perfectly lovely shot. Curves, you know, I never actually had them when I was younger. So, you know, some curves are a nice thing, and a lot of people find them very appealing. So I'm about to lose my ear thing here. Let me adjust it there. But for me, that was my moment of going, oh, you know, that's not where I'm comfortable. I need to do something where I get back to where I'm comfortable in my own skin again and happy with me. I've never been super skinny. I don't want to be super skinny. I like curves. I think a woman is prettier, sexier, more, you know, classic, sort of lovely, like a sports car. That's why they have curves. It's all psychological, right? It resembles a nice woman. It's got a few curves.
Yep.
So if we hop forward a bit, I did a bit of modeling and a bit of acting, you know, just dabbling. And I remember very, very, very well one of my first experiences going to an audition in LA. And it was for just some acting commercial or something. And I walked out of it feeling very good about myself and very good about how I looked and put myself together to be on camera and what I did. You know, I thought my audition went well. And they were, of course, were very nice. And like, oh, thank you, that was great, which is, I found out later, their standard answer, no matter what happened.
Okay.
Oh, thank you, that was great. You know, and then, but walking out of the audition room, I passed a girl coming in who I swear if she turned sideways, she would have disappeared. She was so thin, so thin. And I suddenly was completely self-conscious and anxious and had no self-confidence. It was gone. I thought, oh my God, they probably hated me. I need to lose 20 pounds. You know, I don't look like that. And I was perfectly fine, you know, by any other standard. I was perfectly fine. So it depends on the situation a lot of times, and the expectations that are put on us and that we put on ourselves as to how we feel and how we react. And I didn't go off and become anorexic or take diet pills because of it, you know, but it did affect me for quite a while. And you know, obviously I still have the memory. So it sunk in there, you know. It's those impressions that we remember. And you have to wonder if somehow in the back of your head, it's still affecting you, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I think one of the things you said there, you know, when you saw yourself in the photo, you weren't comfortable in what you saw, and that wasn't comfortable for you. And that's what I think we have to be honest about. I mean, if you know, I see it a lot. If you're not comfortable with how you look or how you feel, then so often we're too afraid to take the steps necessary to actually change that. It's almost like, oh, I'd rather, this is so familiar. Even though I don't like it, it's familiar. So I'll just stay doing what I'm going to do and keep complaining about it, okay, instead of doing something about it. So there's that. But ultimately, I think it's comparing. Oh, that's all we need to look at, because I think we do compare ourselves to other people so much, and then we go through what you did, you know, well, I'm not good enough, I'm not skinny enough, I'm not, you know, whatever it is that we tell ourselves, but that comes primarily from comparison.
It does.
And, you know, if we can try and, you know, let go of that thinking, and, you know, it doesn't have to mean anything, and take it back to the comparison of what we want to be, and just looking at and feeling the way we want to be, then I think it feels a lot better, you know, and we don't get trapped into that, you know, well, I have to do what she's doing to look like her, or, you know, things, which is just soul destroying stuff.
Oh, I know. And that's the beauty of burlesque. That's not originally why I fell in love with the art, but as I've matured and gotten a bit of, you know, fewer age on me here, you know, you start to see a few things change with your body, and you have a few more challenges to keep it where you might like it to be. And you know, maybe you've had children, maybe you've, you know, been married for a while and kind of gotten comfortable and gotten into, you know, good food and wine and going out to fine dining and all that, and gotten busy with work and not had the time to devote to, you know, your normal fitness routine or hitting the gym really hard like you used to or something. You know, things change in life, and no matter where you are on your journey in life, you should love yourself. You should absolutely be in love with yourself, not in a narcissistic way. I'll have to, you know, put a caveat there, but in an appreciative, I'm happy with who I am kind of way, and I'm doing what I need to do for myself to be happy kind of way, to know that I'm putting forth the right kind of effort that gets me the result I personally want, no matter what somebody else might say, no matter what your mother says, no matter what society says, no matter what that TV commercial with the, you know, new thing said. It's got to be for you. And if that means that it's something different today than it was 15 years ago, so what? So what? You find new things to love about yourself. I mentioned I never had a figure. When I was younger, when I was in gymnastics and dancing, there's another memory I have that I remember going up to my mother when I was, I don't know, 14 or so probably. And, you know, all the girls at school were, you know, fairly developed at that point. And I'm, you know, and I looked at her and I said, and I was looking at myself in the long mirror, you know, the full length mirror. And I said, Mom, when am I going to get a figure? And bless her heart, she had no answer for me. She just didn't know what to say. You know, I mean, what mum would, really? I mean, there's no way to predict the future. There's no way to tell your daughter, well, if you continue being active, you're probably going to stay very lean. There's no way to say, well, just be lazy and then you'll get some curves. You don't want to do any of that. So you don't really have an answer. And I don't think any parent really is ready to go into the whole, you got this gene pool from my family, you know, discussion. and then, you know, the child is just like, oh, well, all hope is lost. And, you know, so I got a bit distracted there. Sorry with the memory, but
that's fine. That's what it does.
I did finally, once I discovered good food and wine and, you know, life sort of relaxed a bit and I wasn't in competition. I wasn't, you know, dancing 8 hours a day and that sort of thing, you know, and real life sort of happens, of course, which is marvelous. There's great things about real life. We don't trade that for the world because that's where love comes in and everything else, right? But I put on a few pounds of padding, we'll say. The muscle was still there, but the padding was on top. And I finally had a figure. Go figure. So I've learned to love the curves that I have developed while also doing what I want to do for myself to make sure that the lean muscle stays there and the flexibility stays there and the ability to just do a move if I want to do a move without worrying about hurting myself or looking completely ridiculous. But again, who cares if I do? I'm enjoying it. I'll do the move. My husband laughs at me because I do funny walks throughout the house and it's always, you know, the ministry of funny walks and, you know, here comes Crystal, you know, and I love it because I get to make him laugh. And at the same time, I'm stretching my hamstrings. So
yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Well, I think it's one of the saddest things, and I see it so much in my work, but, you know, we think that we can't love ourselves or love our bodies until we get to a certain weight or till we reach a certain goal. And again, I try and unravel all that thinking, you know, why, you know, how you are now is beautiful. And that's exactly how you're meant to be today.
Yes.
And, you know, that's not to say it can't change. It can,
Yes.
but it doesn't mean because then we get the, you know, I see the ladies that do get to their goal weight, but they're still not happy. There's something else. So I think it's just a change in mindset that, you know, we can unravel a lot of that and just come from a place of, this is where I am now and I am lovable as I am. And then I think you're free to explore a whole lot of different things and see what comes up. But I love one of the things you've talked about, mentioned around empowering women to love their bodies. So how do you do that in a burlesque capacity? Because I do believe you are a teacher of burlesque now.
Yes.
Yes.
So by doing burlesque, you learn to appreciate the curves, number one, and whatever the size of those curves are, whether they're tiny little curves or they're, nice, big, luscious, juicy curves, you see them in a different light because you know that this is an art form where they are appreciated. Size, shape, age, does not matter. Color, creed, all of that goes right out the window. This is a very personal art form. It's a very personal performance specific to you and what is uniquely beautiful and lovable about you. And the hardest thing sometimes for us as women is to look in the mirror or look at a photo or whatever, a video, and find those things that are lovable about ourselves and admit, to ourselves that we have something there that's lovable. That's actually kind of cool. and embrace that, and the dancing in burlesque gets you to sort of use parts of your body in ways that you may not normally use them. And so it takes you out of that box that we've so often put ourselves in, and gives you permission to let your inner child out and go play and just have fun and just see where it goes. You may find that a move isn't for you. You may find that it's the best thing since sliced bread and you just love it and want to do it all through the house all the time, You may find that, wow, that turn of the ankle that I thought was going to be incredibly boring and why even bother was very sexy. And I'm going to have to fix this one. And gives you something to appreciate about yourself really on kind of a daily basis, because what days do we not see our ankles in this century anyway? 1700s might have been different, but yeah. And so there's little things like that, a flick of the wrist, it's a look, it's an attitude. And it's really the attitude of owning your power as a woman. Yeah. And knowing that it's done with love and done with a wink and a smile. That's my favorite expression about burlesque, is it's all about the wink and the smile. This isn't hardcore seduction. This isn't heavy-handed. It's light years away from anything pornographic. It's a communication using your body, but also really using your mind. It's the dance. It's that game, that little cat and mouse that you're playing with the audience, even if it's an audience of one, even if that audience is you in the mirror. And you need to sort of, oh, come on, you like this, you're having fun, right? You've got it, shake it a bit more, yeah. And then you see yourself in a different way, suddenly those thighs or hips or, breasts or whatever it is, that maybe you were a bit self-conscious about it. Wow, that's actually cool. Okay, good.
I love it. And I think it's something that we all can do with doing more of, especially given what's happened, in the world at the moment with COVID, and we're at home, and I think a lot of people are not feeling so footloose and fancy free and in that sort of space. So how have you dealt with, I guess, I know, everyone's dealing with it differently depending on where we live, but how has it played out for you in terms of, with lockdown, and then how can we as women maybe explore some of this while we're at home?
I'm glad you brought that up, because I usually teach in-person workshops, which are a lot of fun. They're a blast. I've done several in New Zealand. I'd be happy to come to Oz next time I'm down that way and do one there. Yeah. And people get their girlfriends together and they go out, and it's kind of the girls' night, that kind of thing. Occasionally we have a glass of wine to get everybody, loosened up and get the inhibitions gone, and and it's a fun evening. And then I also do more sort of serious dance technique workshops with it, because there is a lot of serious dance technique to some of the burlesque. So kind of depends what you're into. But COVID, hello. Well, that's sort of all those plans for this year. So I decided back in March that I'm going to have to put it online, because I knew once I'd heard a little bit, just enough to know about this virus, that everything was going to just be shut. And even if it wasn't shut, I mean, honestly, who really wants to go to the gym and have people panting and breathing heavy next to you, or even 10 feet away with all that? So I thought, well, I'll do it online, and put it together and did my burlesque basics. It's a serious technique class, actually. So if you're looking for a fun way to stay fit, and all the online fitness classes are all starting to look the same, which I think they do after a while.
Yes.
Here's a unique one, and it's a very good core workout, by the way, and you'll get a bit of cardio doing it, and you wind up learning a routine. So
fantastic. So that's available for people to purchase on your website, isn't
it? Yes. I actually I found a great place to host an online class, so you can go there. I've just recently launched it, so this is good timing. And and I believe I can give you a code to get people a bit of a discount if they're curious about it.
Fantastic.
You can always go look. You don't have to sign up, but you can always go look.
Of course. Yeah. Of course. Look, what I would love about that, exactly what you were saying. Well, number one, it can get quite boring doing the same thing over and over again with fitness. And of course we think that being fit requires going to the gym. Now, for a lot of people, they're not going to do that, and they're not comfortable with that. They certainly can't do it now. I mean, I've had clients that will, they will tell me, I can't go to the gym because I'm too fat. So I'm like, well, this is what a great, but what a great opportunity now while the gyms aren't open, but we still need to move our bodies, because our bodies are designed to move. What a great opportunity to do something different. And I would love, if you're happy to provide something like that for the people watching to go and explore it. I'm definitely going to do it. And I know you've also got a little video that you can give that I'm going to have down below for people to just have a little teaser and have a little look to see how it looks. And I think I would say, acknowledge this might be something very different and something that you may not have ever considered before, and that is okay to feel uncomfortable, but still take that step forward and play, because I think what you've said today, Crystal, is beautiful, and it translates to the whole big picture of what I'm about and what I share. I'm in the nutrition genre, but it doesn't matter. It's the same thing. When we can get out of our head, we can free ourselves up to experience life in ways that we never thought possible. And I know my husband would love it if I was burlesque dancing in the kitchen, which I never do now. But, wouldn't it be wonderful to just free ourselves, exactly as you said, of those learnt inhibitions? And we do learn it. We are not born with this stuff. It's all learnt, which means we can unlearn it too.
Yes. And speaking of the husband factor, I mean, so many people have been locked in, quarantined with their significant other for months now, and they don't normally spend every hour of every day together. So it's been a bit different, and I'm sure it's been a bit of a struggle for people as well sometimes. Plus, there's been the whole quarantine 15 or the quarantine kilos that, from the snacking and the watching movies all day, that kind of thing. So there's two different issues there, I think, that doing a class like this would actually help with. And that is one, if you put on a little bit while this was going on and you want to, get out of your sweatpants and get your mojo back and drop those pounds and, those inches, those kilos, whatever. This is a great fun way to do it, or to help you do it. Obviously, nutrition comes into play there too, as we both know. But, and the other one is just to spark up your relationship. I mean, it's so easy. I know it happens to me too. And I have to go, hey, all right, it's time to put some effort in here. Let's get a surprise going and just do something fun and unexpected, and, have a few moves to just pull out of your toy box when you feel like it, and just be like, oh, I think I'm going to do this for you right now. Or do it for yourself. You know,
100%.
we don't always have the raging libido every single day. And if your partner's on a different scale than you are on a certain day and you need to sort of perk yourself up, then it doesn't hurt to perk yourself up with yourself, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. I love it. So in terms of wrapping it up, because I should let you go, it's been such a lovely chat, but what would be a final, I guess, piece of inspiration that you could give to women sitting there, you know, who have watched the whole video of us and haven't gotten uncomfortable and turned it off? They've sat through because something's driven them to sit through and listen to it because they are curious and they haven't done anything like this before. What would you say to them?
Oh, follow that curiosity. Really, don't ever kill your curiosity. If we stop being curious, we might as well be dead, right? Because then we're not going to learn or experience anything new. And that's what life is all about, you know? It's about growing as a person and allowing yourself permission to grow as a person. And again, not worrying about other people or society or, you know, any preconceived notions and that sort of thing. You have to do what feels right for you. And this doesn't feel right for everybody. I know that. But if it feels right for you, give it a shot. Yeah, might as well try. What have you got to lose?
Exactly, exactly. Well, what an honor and pleasure it's been to meet you and chat to you. You're just a beautiful source of light, and I'm so grateful to you for for your time today to share this. And yeah, I would encourage anyone watching who is curious to explore the links below that Crystal's generously given us. And yeah, I'm definitely going to do it myself. As a traditional exerciser, I'm very curious. And it's funny, isn't it? You know, I'm 47 next month. And I just think as I get older, I'm becoming more curious because I've seen, you know, a lot of the things, you know, I've had the insights at a lot of the stuff we've talked about today. And if we don't, I believe, if we haven't laughed or taken ourselves, you know, not very seriously at some point in each and every day, we're being too serious because life can be a lot more fun than it, you know, sometimes feels that it is. So thank you so much.
I think you should go through life with a wink and a smile because we could all use more smiles anyway, right?
I think I'm going to use that. I love that line. Go through life with a wink and a smile. It's beautiful. Thank you so much, Crystal.
Thank you, Tracy.